Hello and welcome back to the Confessions of Two Reformed friariyot. You're here with Mai.
And Ariel.
Hey.
How are you?
I feel like that's a question I can't answer right now.
Okay, so we won't.
Can we please skip this question?
Every week there's a new question. No, it's the same question, but
Same
it's
question.
a new answer. And it depends on how your past 7 days. Well, no, this was actually 8 because we're recording on a Monday.
But don't you feel like every day you're living is just another year? So when people ask me what you did yesterday, I'm like, I could not tell you.
The amount of people that I contact in a day span, the amount of people that conversations that I have in a day, 24 hours you give me, and I've met and seen so many people. You think about a week. You ask me how my last week was?
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Don't do that to me.
I really think that between recordings, we need to start writing down what's been happening during the week so we can give our listeners a little bit of a review, because except for the Hanukkah lighting that we had at your place last night.
That's the only thing I remember.
I cannot tell you what I did this past week, but I'm sure it was full of fun things and sleep, ? Did you sleep in the past week?
Yeah, I slept a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on what you consider a full night's of sleep.
But what do you consider a full night's of sleep?
Do you do the army 7 hours or do you consider 9 hours?
You slept 7 hours in the
I'm asking.
army? Wow.
I'm asking.
I do 8 hours.
That was Matkali. They had to give you 7 hours,
Yeah.
but that didn't necessarily happen every single month.
Did it
at
actually?
all.
Did it ever happen?
No, not
I
really.
don't remember that happening. Maybe once
Maybe for one solid week.
on
and
like
that was
Shabbat
it.
when we actually couldn't do anything, so we actually could sleep and did shmirot afterwards. But
Yeah, this past week has been crazy.
yeah, it has been crazy. But I feel like every week's crazy, so it's not.
But it was
too-
Hanukkah. What was your favorite moment of Hanukkah, the Chag, the whole
Oh,
holiday
that's a good
season?
question. First of all, I love the last day of Hanukkah because I love seeing the menorah full of lights. I think it's so beautiful. Yesterday you had like 3, and I thought that was really, really nice to see. And I like that almost in every night I had like a different occasion to go to. If it was in my scholarship that I'm a part of, or with friends or with family, I really like that every night you can be with somebody different. And I think that's really cute.
Are you putting the Chanukiot on your table or on the window person?
Oh,
'Cause,
that's a good
you're
question.
supposed to
Are you?
spread the light, and you're supposed to show people when you're outside of Israel. You're supposed to show people that you're Jewish, so you put it at your.
Oh, I didn't know
windowsill.
that. No, I didn't know you
something
did
new
that.
every day.
Yeah, exactly. No, we do it on the like one of our shelves where we can put it, just so it doesn't burn the house down.
And that's smart.
Yeah, no, we don't have any
Smart
windowsill.
women.
My windows are completely like from top to bottom, like just glass.
I got you.
So you
Okay.
can't, there's no like
Yeah.
windowsill unless it's the back window, and then it's just irrelevant. Nobody's going to see it except for the dirty laundry at the back or anything. But
Okay.
I don't think it needs to see the light ? I don't even know how to refer it to. Anyways, on to the topic of today's.
That was our last week.
That was
our
that was our last
holiday
week.
season. We're coming into
Um,
New Year's, into 2026. How are you
wow.
feeling?
How am I feeling? Oh my God, I don't even know how to answer that.
Okay.
That's next week.
Yeah.
So we're going to be recording our last episode next week for 2025.
We have an incredible guest. I'm
That's
so excited.
Yay. It's going to be so fun. We're so excited for you to hear that episode. But for now, we decided to focus on things that we thought would be easy in our 20s. And turns out, guys,
It's
they're
really
not.
fucking difficult.
It's really difficult, and not just generally speaking about things that were hard in our 20s. I think things that we might have thought would be easy when we came to Israel, and a lot of moments where we were like, oh fuck, ani margisha, I feel like such a friarit. And maybe if I grew up here, I wouldn't be feeling like that. And I think we've caught ourselves in a lot of moments like that. And I still find myself friarit lefamim, but not all the time, which
Not
is
all
why
the
I
time,
am
and this is
reformed
very
and you are
important.
reformed, and that
This
is the
is
point of the
very
podcast.
important.
Yes.
What's one of the biggest things when you came here when you were 18 that you were like, wow, I don't know what I'm doing. I wish this was easier. Before
Prices.
you turn. Okay, that's valid.
Prices, especially coming from Thailand. It's something that
Explain.
I realized that, okay, so the difference I feel like between my coming here and you guys, even though America's cheap, it is cheap. But for us, and you know this being in Southeast Asia, you've been to Thailand, the food, the drinks, 7-Eleven, I think it's even half of what America has. Like a bottle of water in Thailand is 7 agorot, maybe?
Yeah.
Like less than a shekel.
Yeah.
less than a
70
shekel.
cents. I don't know
Yeah,
how you
to buy a water bottle. I don't know how much water costs in America. Maybe it's the same.
At least $1 if you're like on the side of the street and
Okay.
you're buying it from some vendor. It's like $1.50, $2.
Yeah.
Any like busy city.
So at the
you go
beginning,
into a grocery store, it doesn't matter. It's like $5 for a bottle of water.
yeah. So at the beginning, I would go to like a restaurant with friends, and we would go to an Asian restaurant. Let's say I think this is the easiest one for me to kind of compare to. But we went to like an Asian restaurant, and I see that papaya salad, like somtam, which usually costs what, like, I'm trying to translate it, but let's say 100 baht, which is
Okay.
10 shekels, here costs minimum 58 shekels as a starter. And I could feed my whole family for 600 baht for this papaya salad back home. And I don't want to pay. And not because I'm kamtsanit or anything, like, not because I'm
Friariyot, then you don't want to pay all of this money for just a small Israeli salad.
not because I'm cheap, I'm like one of them, like, I'm not like that, but it literally, I was like, what am I, a flyer that I'm going to pay 58 checks for a papaya salad? And then I had a conversation with my parents, and they were like, listen, this is how it is. Like, you don't have to go out all the time, but get used to it. Like, you're not going to go out
Welcome
with friends.
to adulthood.
Welcome to Israel,
Yeah.
Giveret Ariel. It's
Yeah.
not welcome
Okay.
to adulthood. It's welcome to adulthood plus
Living
welcome
in
to
this country.
Israel. And it made life so much harder to integrate into, because it's not just, oh, you're living on your own. It's how am I dealing with all these things on my own that a lot of people, like we said in the first episode, are dealing with now at the age of 23, 24, 25.
When you're starting your university, when you're
Yeah.
getting out of school, when you're getting out of the culture that you're used to,
Yeah.
and you're 23 to 25 and you're done with university, you have your degree in your hands, and now they're starting adulthood.
Yeah. But I feel like my money management has gotten better, but it's still not where it should be. And I take full responsibility for that. I don't want to go and
Agreed.
to put in the effort to understand how to manage my money. And again, terrible on my part. I think it's something that I have to do. If somebody wants to come and be a guest speaker and explain to us how to do money management for lone soldiers and for Olim and generally anybody listening, we would appreciate it. But how do you feel like your money management has come along? You've been here since you were 15.
Yeah.
You're even younger than me when you came here.
So when I was in high school, it was a little bit different because you're under 18 and the government is really giving you allowance and your parents help you, and it's a different kind of support
Really?
system. Yeah, we got allowance from every month from the government, from our aliyah money.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Um,
That was a thing.
It's a little bit, but
No, but still, it's something that they provide you because you're minors, right? Because
Right.
You're,
we're minors, so it was like our spending money for the week
Okay.
or for the month, and then you could use it for anything. And
Okay.
the rest of the time, you were at the boarding school and you were eating their food and you were going to school and you were spending the time on the campus. So it was like, it was their little allowance that they gave you, and that was out of the big chunk of money that you get when you make aliyah. When you make
Okay.
aliyah, the government helps you.
okay.
So it was a little bit of a snippet out of that they would give us every month to help support us
Okay.
before you turn 18. When you turn 18, you draft into the army.
Okay. Okay.
So I got straight from the boarding school into the army. I was getting a salary every month.
Wow.
So it was easier. I had a little bit of a few months where I wasn't really doing anything. I was some of my savings, some of my parents helping me, and it was just living on my own
Yeah.
in the house that I think we've talked about a little bit here in Herzliya.
Yeah.
And I had a salary because I was in the army for almost 2.5
Yeah.
years.
That I get.
That was
yes.
pretty stable.
Okay.
Money management in that arena was great because I was saving all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was on base pretty much all the time. And when I was at home, I had food in the house, which was Baruch Hashem. It was incredible that they would always bring us food and help us with our laundry and everything that we got there. I didn't really spend anything.
This was the house within the army.
In the
When you were in the
When I
army.
was in the army,
Yeah.
yes. I lived here in Herzliya in like
Okay.
a soldier house.
Yeah.
And that was great. So I was saving all the money. And so I said, after I finish the army, I want to go on a trip.
Okay.
So I had my savings that I had already put to the side.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is how I'm going to manage my money. When I come back, I'm going to get a job. It was great. I went to summer camp. I kept every month, just made sure that I had a little bit of an income. So I knew, or I had to cover rent and
Yeah.
food, or I had a place to stay and they were providing me food.
Mm-hmm.
Went to summer camp in the States. And so here I wasn't paying rent.
Okay.
And so I was in the States. They were paying for my room and board because I was giving my services. They were
Okay.
feeding me as well. So it was
Wow.
a great kind of like, you're getting a little bit of a
Yeah.
salary. I got this crazy experience. Then I did-
Negotiation sort of
Exactly.
situation. Yeah.
and then when I came back and I started to get a job,
Okay.
the war started. So then I went back to Miloim and then I had that salary. And so it was kind of doing that instead of coming to school and getting
Okay.
a job.
Got it.
Because in the States, it's very, you go to school and you don't have a job. Here, it's you need an income
Okay.
to support yourself. I don't know how you feel about this being third year in school, but you've always had an income. How does that kind of work with your money management and now that you're 3 years into school, have you had a job the whole time? Have you had something, caloric income, an income of some sort?
Yeah.
The whole time? Tell us a little bit about that.
So one thing that I did realize that I was brought up a bit differently than Israelis. I know in America you could work and like a lot of people did have jobs before they came. She went skydiving, people. If that wasn't clear from that water bottle, we'll talk about it later. But basically, I didn't work until I came to Israel. Like I didn't need to have a
When
job.
you were 18.
Yeah, like even before I was 18, because it's a bit different. My parents are there. My dad has like a work visa, and then we were there on student visas. It's not that I'm a Thai citizen, so I couldn't actually work. And honestly, I didn't have to. Like my parents really provided us with everything when it came to that. And then when I made Aliyah, I went straight into the army. So that was, I guess, my job. And then my first big girl job was when I became an officer, and that's when I saw the real bucks. And when I saw the real bucks,
is there really a difference?
The real yes.
Okay.
No.
Good to know.
Yeah, it's a proper maskoret, like it's a proper salary. So I'm not getting 1,500 shekel anymore. I'm getting more. It also depends where you're physically placed. If you're placed in a less, like ramat pilut, like in a less dangerous zone where you're doing daily, then honestly, you're not making, no offense to every officer listening to this, I would not sign more if I was doing that. I think it's a cool experience, but no. But because I was far from home and my danger zone was a bit higher, in officer's course, it was really, really high. So I was making good money. But afterwards, it went a bit down. But again, for a year, it was good. So I actually did well with that. I put stuff in the savings every month, and then I could do my big trip. That was fine. Everything went downhill when I came back. I got a big girl job again. And I don't know. I just like spending money, and we're
going to work on that one.
Wasn't great with that. And then I did end up saving. Like I go through these phases where I save well, and then I don't save well. I get comfortable, and then I don't. And it's not a good, no. Yeah, basically. And I've been working ever since I started university. So I worked a year before, and now I've been working at Uptick, which is a platform that teaches English. So I'm a business English coach, and I'm also
incredible, guys.
Yeah,
like a powerhouse of a woman.
And I'm also a social media manager for a vegan bakery. So It's also things that are fun that I'm doing, but also you need the money. Like, what am I gonna do? But it's
in this country especially.
And it's this thing where I meet Israelis that are still living at home, and sometimes they say it in a very embarrassed way, like, yeah, ani adain gar babayit, I still live at home. I'm like, no, I would probably also be living at home if my parents were here. It is difficult.
Yeah.
And it's something that, no, I didn't really think that I had to think about in my 20s. I know it sounds stupid, but
it doesn't sound stupid. I got up this morning and was like, I'm the one that's opening my windows. I'm the one that's turning on and off the aircon. I'm the one that's doing everything in my house. And it's such an early age that we only learned this when we came here so early. And that's one of the things of like, we look at it, this is the country that we chose to live in, and it's incredible. It's an amazing experience. Baruch Hashem. Pashut, to have that weight on your shoulders of you're doing everything because you saw the price of coming here.
And I'm still here. Do you understand? It's also something that's unique to Israel, that everybody complains about the prices and the inflation. And it was something that I remember came up. I don't know if you realized. No, you 100% realized that the bus fare went up from 6 shekels to 8 shekels.
No, it was like 5.5. And then it went 6, and then it went 7, and then it went 8. And now they're thinking about going to 9.
No, who said that?
Okay, continue.
The Ministry of Transportation, if this video comes to you, please contact me on behalf of
Maya's high goals.
On behalf of all young people. Enough is enough. No, okay, so when this came out, I remember everybody being like, yo, we're not going to let this happen. We're not friarim. Yes, people said that. We're not friarim. We're not going to let this happen. And
look what happened.
No, and fair enough that we've been so asukim and busy with the war and trying to be alive with bombs falling on me, that the last thing I'm going to think of is that I'm going to fight the Ministry
of Transportation on a shekel.
Exactly, on 2 shekels. But 2 shekels plus 2 shekels plus 3 shekels, you're spending at least another, couple hundred shekels a month on transportation. And are maskorot going up or salaries going up? Not that I heard of. Okay.
Yeah.
No, this is a really annoying topic because
I
it happens.
100% agree with you. I just have nothing to say because
No, it's
right
like
now
cottage.
it's like cottage. It's like the milk.
No,
Okay, it's
I
everything.
love cottage so much. And then it comes up and you're like, what? Aren't you going to buy? Like, that's the mentality here. It's not, oh, we're going to protest in the street. We're like so tired of things happening that we're, okay, I'm just going to go get that cottage. And everybody ends up buying cottage. So the country's like, okay, bo nale mechirim. Like, let's put
Let's
prices
raise
up.
it up.
And then it becomes this whole thing.
Yeah.
So, you know what? We're always talking about olim and stuff being friarim. Israelis, atem friarim amitiyim, okay?
No, here it is.
Seriously,
Here's the real
let's
truth.
switch it up a little bit. But
Here's the real truth.
if we're always going to be content with things going up and inflation, then that's just what's going to happen. It's just going to keep happening. But on the other hand, I also get it. You don't see me protesting in the middle of Kaplan for prices of food.
Did people do that? I want a research team to
Probably.
go out
I mean,
and see if anyone's ever protested because of the prices of cottage and milk.
Mea אחוז. I'm sure people have done it. It just hasn't had coverage because we've been worried about other things.
Oh, I'm not saying in the last 2 years. In
Oh,
the last
ever?
3 years, ever in this country.
That's a good question. Dov, we'll check that later.
Yeah,
It,
research team.
it must be checked.
Yes. Okay, besides money, what was another big thing in your moving here when you were 18, after the army maybe?
Something came up to my head and then I'm like, wait, my parents listen to this podcast.
Okay, next topic.
No. The freedom, that independence that I personally was raised in a home where my parents really, really atfuti. They really, really like.
Envelope?
Yeah.
I'm trying to like
They
verbalize
put me
what.
in an envelope. Guys, I'm sorry with the Hebrew English today. The brain's kind of just not working. But they really enveloped me. Yeah. So they always knew where I was and what I'm doing. And suddenly I am so far away from them. And if I don't want to answer the phone, I don't have to answer the phone. And
לא בקטרה.
לא בקטרה. You can go to clubs here at 18. You can start drinking here at 18. And you know what? I guess that's also something that I didn't think about that would be easy in my 20s or young teenage years.
The culture.
The culture and also that shit's crazy that we can go out at 18. You know what? I was going out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, waking up hungover Sunday to go to base. That was the culture of my Garin. Of Garin Sabar in general, also Olim. And I think Israelis are also like that, but for us it was even more. I don't know if that's also within your programs as well. It was like that. But we were going out all the time. And looking back, it was crazy stories that I can tell, you know, like it's awesome. But it was a lot. It was a lot for the age of 18 to get that. And I was put in a lot of uncomfortable situations with people. And I had to learn that at a young age. And like, tfu, nothing bad or horrendous happened. But I heard a lot of stories and nobody makes you ready for that, you know, or maybe they try to make you ready for that, but nobody actually tells you that's something that you're going to go through. And yeah, no, I thought it would be much
Even when you're 24
easier.
now, 24, 25, it doesn't matter if you hear that kind of stuff. You still shouldn't have to go through it. But because we came when we were so young and things here are allowed versus not allowed. In the States, it's 21 when you're allowed to drive. When you're allowed to drink.
Drink, yeah.
Not that you're allowed to drive when you're 15 in some states. Like, that's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
How does that make any sense?
That's a different problem.
Right.
Different problem.
So here
different
coming
country.
when I'm 15, I already know how to drive and I haven't really had anything to drink in the last while. It's very different to come to a place where everyone drinks on Friday night dinners. Everyone afterwards too. It's a completely different mindset and perspective here. So that's an interesting one of the freedom.
So I'm interested actually to hear from your perspective. When you came at 15, the people at your boarding school at the Pnimiyah were only Olim, or you also had Israelis? Because I think that connects. Okay, both. So
but the Israelis that I had were Noel Basikun.
Okay. Did you think when you came here that making friends would be so simple? Or it was something that you weren't expecting and it was a challenge that you kind of faced? Because it was a huge challenge for me that I didn't think that I would face. But wait a minute. I want to hear about you.
It was a lot easier because we were all Olim and we all came without our parents. And we were all stuck in these buildings and we had to study. Like, this is why we came and this is what we did here. And we studied and we lived together. So it was a lot easier to make friends than I think coming beforehand. Like Garin Sabar and, you just go straight into the army. Or your program and then you go into the army. I was in school. We had a purpose for a year, 2 years, 3 years, however long you stayed. We were also with the Israelis.
But were you in a bubble of the Pnimiyah, of the boarding school? Or?
Yes. Not
Okay.
me specifically, because I had friends outside of the boarding
Ah,
school, but
okay.
there were kids that only ever stayed there.
Mm.
Didn't know anyone else. Didn't know any other corner of Israel.
That really puts you in a bubble. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that pops in the army, and it pops hard.
Right. So if I hadn't seen, for me, if I hadn't seen so many different perspectives of different countries, my friends were all from I'm telling you, one was from Europe, one was from my roommates, one was from Europe.
Yeah, like an international
Two were
setting.
from Latin America. The same girl I was in all of the army service with, all of it. We were in Miluim together. I know this girl. She lives down the street from me. Kilo.
Wow.
It's such an incredible experience to know someone from the very beginning, from 10th grade here, from
see them
before I
evolve.
even before I even started school here, and I still know friends that live down the street from me.
Incredible.
And yes, it's a lot easier to make friends here, 100%. I say that all the time.
Wow.
People say, why do you not go back to America? Because
No, so interesting. I want to hear about that. Like, tell me about that, about the culture in America. Because, again, very different from Thailand, very different from the culture that
And
I
you've
grew
never
up
been
in.
to America, have you?
And I've never been to America. And you've been to Thailand, but you never grew up there.
Right.
Because for us, yeah, it's also very difficult. I had the bubble of the private school that I was in.
Did you feel like the Garin was a bubble?
100%. It was a bubble that I had a hard time bursting into. Only when I say only
Bursting out of?
towards no bursting into.
Oh,
No,
Okay.
yes, no. For me, it was bursting into the Green, because think that they came as a group from America. And because I was in the
that's
international
right.
Green, we were around 6-7 people that were from all over the world, and they had to kind of throw us into different Greens. So I was picked to be in the Miami, Florida, Georgia Green, and they all came. They all knew each other. A lot of them are from the Tzofim, so they knew each other from before.
From childhood.
And I get it. It's completely, it's natural. They're coming to a new country and they know people. Why would they want to meet new people? So for me, it wasn't bursting out of the bubble. It was always bursting into the bubble. And that's why it was and it was very easy for me to come out also. It wasn't too hard to come out of the
So
Green
when you
because
started the army, it was easier to pop it.
it wasn't popped because I wasn't in it. I only believe that I started becoming part of my Green towards the end of the process of us finishing. And when I was in the army and I was coming back home, and because different people started coming back home at different times, they weren't a group. So I got to meet people one-on-one. And today I can tell you that I love all of them and I'm such good friends with most of them. Like, it doesn't matter. It's like life changes, I've changed, they've changed, everything's good. So I never had that problem. I had a problem bursting into it. And then I had a much easier time with the Israelis in the army. And I think a lot of them, or a lot of people that I talked to in Green, had a really hard time getting connected to Israelis in the army because it's
Did you
different
know
culture.
Hebrew before you went into the army?
Yes, but as that I knew Hebrew. My parents are Israeli. So the culture that I grew up at home with, it wasn't such a shock when I was in the military. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a shock because it's the military for everybody. But I felt like I could handle myself really well. But at the end of the day, I did find myself like thinking, holy shit, what is happening? You know, what am I doing here? What these girls are talking about things that they grew up in and they watch TV on, and I never watched that.
Half of the TV shows that Israelis talk about, I have no idea what
No,
they're saying.
exactly. So there's some things that my parents showed me and I got lucky compared to other people. So I could be like, the pajamas. Wow, yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
But most of the things I would look at them and be like, no, I don't relate to you on any level. And it made me feel like a friariyot because I'm like, why am I not understanding this conversation? I feel so left out. But I worked really, really damn hard to make sure that today I know a lot of the culture, and that's not going to be a barrier for me. And I think it's something that Olim needs to take in their hands and stop kind of victimizing themselves. And I'm saying this like chad v'chalak. I meet Olim that are
Once and for all.
I meet Olim that are 10, 15 years here, and they are still in the Olim bubble. Don't make any effort to learn Hebrew. Don't make any effort to understand the Israeli culture, and then say, why don't I have Israeli friends? But you're making that conscious decision to stay in that bubble, and that's fine. But don't come and complain about it after, you know? And I think we have this like victimization sometime. And some of the time it's correct and it's fine. And some of the time I just want to take these people and be like, Takshiv, you decided to build your life here. I think that's incredible. I'm Zionist. I really hope everybody moves here and we're a whole Jewish community country. But take your life into your hands and start meeting Israelis and start trying to talk to them in Hebrew.
Learning the
language.
culture. You don't have to become them.
No, but let them in. Like, Israelis are awesome. I'm starting to get so many more friends who are Israelis, and I think it's such an incredible perspective, and they're such strong people. You know, like I consider myself Israeli, so it's fine, but there's such a
You
strong
and me both, girly.
Yeah. So I think it's really important, and it's something that I didn't think that in my 20s I would want to be like that. I always shied away from my Israeli personality.
I got a
Okay,
card last
so
night that said
another-
I'm always right in Danny's game. I have to show you.
Wait, what card?
We were playing a card yesterday at the holiday party,
Okay.
okay? When it was just a few of us, and it's called Stone, Drunk, and Stupid.
Oh, why didn't we? I wasn't there when you played.
And I got the card that
No,
said
this
I'm
bitch
always
literally
right. And you have to
waited
give
until
it
I
to
left to
someone.
play. Oh my god.
Okay, so besides money and freedom, what other things did you feel like you really experienced after the army, or when you really came to Israel and you were like, "Ani lo רוצה להיות friariyot. I'm gonna stick up for myself, and these are hard things, but I can still do it."
Okay, so again, I want us to kind of link it back to the topic of what we wanted to talk about today, which was things that we thought were going to be easy in our 20s, and they're not easy in our 20s. And I think one of the things are mental load and emotional growth, but specifically mental load. It's something that I think I had it pretty easy growing up when it came to that. Like, I had school and I had my family and everything was fine. And how much mental load do you need as a lone soldier? Like, you hear that as a lone soldier, you hear that as living alone. But I didn't expect it. I didn't expect myself to have this mental strain of having to deal with so many things at once. And as time goes on, as AI becomes harder, as technology evolves, it's not easier. It just becomes harder because you're thinking of 1,000 more things that you could be doing. And it ties back also again to being busy.
Yep.
And that's just the mental
Listen
load.
to last episode.
Yeah, but it's just being busy. And then I said, like, that's adulthood.
Did you think that adulthood, when you were like, I don't know, looking up to your parents, looking up to your role models, were you like, I know what adulthood is, and I'm going to be strong, and I'm going to be a mentally capable woman? And what did you think when you looked up to them?
I was like, I'm going to leave home and it's all going to be okay. Not because my parents did
Rainbows
anything or
and
anything.
unicorns. And
But yeah, I'm going to leave home and I'm going to be independent at 18 with my cute little suitcases. I made like Aliyah with 7-8 suitcases.
And a Mini Cooper.
Without a license, you mean? And that's why I got into 2 accidents.
Oh,
Because I got my
it's always the
license
women.
like 2, 3. Hey. It's always women except us. Let's not group us into this. But yeah, I feel like I saw adulthood as emotional stability and financial stability, and I will be fine and everything would be okay. And then I come and I'm 25 now and I'm like, holding 2 jobs, school, volunteering, life, everything. And
A podcast.
a
Word.
podcast.
New future endeavors. So many options on the table.
Yeah. So no,
And
I didn't think
What does
that...
adulthood mean to you now? Because it's just your 20s.
Oh, what a deep question. Ariel, מאיפה שלפת? Wow, look at you getting better at this.
This
I
is
love
not
it.
the chat, I promise. This
That
is
was-
all from
yeah,
the brain.
That was actually really good. I really appreciate it. You didn't even look at the notes. I loved it. Can you ask me again, though?
Okay. So we're going to have to repeat ourselves now.
I
What do
have
you-
short-term memory loss. We know
What do you
this.
consider? Yeah, it's the goldfish brain. What do you consider adulthood to be for you now? Because we're only in our 20s.
Mm.
Hopefully, Bezrat Hashem, married, children in the future, visit. Okay, you finish your degree, you have a job, that's different kind of adulthood. Now that you're in your 20s, what's your adulthood defined by now?
Figuring myself out and finding out what I am, who I am, and what I want in life,
I love that.
but without needing to conform to something that I think I need to. So not being like, by the age of 30, because I was always like that. I was always the person who was 5 years from now, I'm going to do this. 10 years from now, I'm going to do that. And you know what changed that perspective? October 7th. Chad v'chalak. October 7th made me do a big fucking pause like it did to the whole world, specifically Jews and Israelis, and understand that life has no specific timeline, that everybody has their own timeline. And when you hear it, you're like, yeah, obviously. No, it's not that obvious, because society has made us feel like we need to be on the strict timeline of, by the age of this, I need to be this, and by the age of that. And you know what was another culture shock when I came here? That everybody has a boyfriend. Everybody's getting married by the age of 21, 22. Even people who
Dude,
aren't
so
religious.
many people I'm in high school with, even, right, if
Yeah.
you're not religious.
If you're not religious, it's this culture here in Israel that I was very surprised by, that everybody in the army was already on their 3rd boyfriend. And I'm like,
תופסת ומתחתנת
yeah,
כבר.
and it's okay. And if that's what works here, then that's what works here. But it's something that I realized put a lot of pressure on me without me realizing. And I found myself at the age of 22 having a mental breakdown about why I'm not married with kids. Whoa.
Excuse me.
Married with kids. I don't even know what my bank account number is. I don't even know how to get up in the morning without, I don't know, not wanting to throw the pillow out of the fucking window. You know?
Wow, I feel that one.
So adulthood for me is understanding that everybody has their own timeline and understanding that it's okay to live in your own pace and figuring out that pace
So important.
can be a sprint, it can be a marathon, but you need to know what pace is good for you and stay on that pace. And when somebody tries to get you out of that pace, what's happening to me for the past couple of weeks, I've been not at my normal pace and I'm trying to bring it back. And I'm trying to bring it back to me, because just because 50 other people are doing a fast-paced sprint, it doesn't mean that it matches the marathon that I want to be living.
We gotta go back to the marathon, Mai. I'm gonna shout out at some point the fact that you did a marathon and the fact
I did a 10K, not a marathon.
You're building up to it.
And also, can we talk about the fact that I'm really behind and I don't know if I can do another 10K in February? And yes,
we could talk about that if you want.
No, I don't, because I'm so behind.
Okay.
But,
Building blocks, dude.
okay, what? I can't with this. This
Building
guy
blocks.
was standing outside the comms building and just hands me this little note with this Lego inside and
Right,
goes,
but the whole point is
"Hey."
now that you're talking about it, you see, he did his advertising. He
So
did
you know
the
what?
marketing. It worked.
You're right. I don't know your name, man, but you
But
did
it
good
worked,
advertising.
and he gave building blocks.
What does adulthood mean to you, Ariel? I'm bringing it back to you.
I agree with you 100%. I am figuring out who I am and living by myself and living in a country where I didn't really grow up here for the first 15 years of my life. It's very different than how my parents aren't Israeli. So I didn't have that when I was growing up like you did in Thailand. And I had just the Jewish American childhood of this is your school system and this is what you're growing up to be. And most of the people that I went to middle school or ninth grade with in America became rabbis or started to become rabbis or started just wait a second or are married and already pregnant. Okay,
That's not what I was expecting.
what were you expecting?
Became rabbi.
Motherfuckers are already on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook, okay, and they see their faces are more out there, and I'm happy about it. Their faces are more out there. They're doing so well.
Good.
And they're
I'm glad.
promoting Judaism. Incredible. Getting married and having children already. People I was in middle school with, okay, obviously we're at the same age, but
Yeah.
it's just weird because I think of them as like we were in 7th grade together.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a different culture.
Wow.
Childhood. Adulthood to me right now is figuring out who I am in my 20s and who I want to be in my 30s. I'm not the kind of person that's like, oh, in 10, 15 years from now, I'm going to be married and have children. I'm not that kind of person. I'm very, okay, this year or next year. I have the 5-year plan and that's where I work with. I have, of course, dreams and goals like for where I want to travel to, what I want to do. But for right now, I'm so focused on finishing my degree and that's in my 20s. That's in my young adulthood. And I'm focusing on that right now. My small little goals. And then I feel a lot more accomplished.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
That kind of just came
always.
up also because of what you were saying. How long have you been in Israel?
8 years.
8 years. Okay, so Baba. So I've been 7.5, so almost the same time we've been in Israel. You're a bit younger than me, but pretty much the same. When do we stop feeling? I guess this is a rhetorical question because I won't be able to answer this or you won't be able to answer
Let's
this
see.
until later.
Try
but
me.
when do you stop feeling like an ole? And if you never stop feeling like an ole, why stay? And why not go back to America where you can be like, I'm American. You can't say, oh, I'm American and don't belong, but you're American. Then
Because
do you
when I
understand
go,
what I'm saying?
yes, of course. I can sort of answer it. I don't know. It is a rhetorical question because I don't think until you say, oh, I'm not an ole chadash anymore.
Yeah.
What do you say? Ole yashan? Because I started
For
saying that and
me-
people started laughing at me. So it doesn't matter what you say,
But-
Mai. It's however you feel. When you go back to Thailand, do you feel more Israeli or more Thai?
But for me, that's different. And I will always be a bit different than you guys because I'm not Thai. I grew up in Thailand,
Yeah.
but my parents are Israeli and they brought in the Israeli. I knew from the day I was born, I was Israeli.
Yeah.
It was never, oh, I'm half Thai. My parents aren't Thai. So it's very difficult for me to answer that because when I'm here, I don't feel like I'm 100% Israeli because I always have this Ola thing. But half the people think I'm American, but I've never been to America. I'm not Thai, even though I grew up in Thailand. I have a whole identity crisis. I'm still figuring it out. But that's the difference, that you are American. But when you go to America, and a lot of my American friends are like that, they don't necessarily feel American anymore, even though your identity is American. When people ask you here, they're like, where are you from? You say America, no? No, you say Israel. I love that.
I usually say
Okay.
I'm from Hod Sharon or, oh yeah, I've lived in Herzliya for the last few years.
Nice. Okay. So that's
If
where
they
the
say
lexicon
no,
changes.
where do you have your accent from?
Okay.
And then I say, oh, where do you think? I play it off. Because if you can push it off for a really long time, then people forget you're from America, Bichlal.
Yeah.
And that's
It's just the English when they
Right.
hear it. Yeah.
okay.
100%.
And most people, I've gotten a lot, oh, you sound French in Hebrew. Since when?
That's so true, though.
Okay,
A lot
sometimes.
of this, a lot of
A lot
Americans
of-
sound French.
Right. So I have that, and I also have not really the heavy English in Hebrew accent.
Mm-hmm.
So no one guesses that I'm from the States at the beginning, which is totally fine. When I go to America, I feel Israeli, or I feel way too Jewish for my community.
Manyan.
When I'm here, everyone looks at me as the American.
You don't feel too Jewish when you went to Jewish school in America, right?
Yeah.
Didn't you feel too Jewish when you came here? Because something I was, you're still surprised. Okay,
No,
this is
because a lot of
hilarious.
the people in the high school that I went to here in the boarding school also went to the young Jewish.
Okay.
Like they had the same upbringing in their
Okay.
middle schools, and so we all kind of came together for high school, and we were all like, "Oh, we all know the same songs."
Okay, so-
like it wasn't when we were talking to the Israelis. Yes, of course, because I was standing there and I'm like, "I know this song and you don't."
Okay.
Like that's weird.
So my parents lied to me growing up, and when they were trying to
I'm
make
glad
us,
that they're listening to this episode.
no, they're 100% listening to all my episodes. Ima and Abba, I love you, but that's not the point. But when we grew up, right, they really tried to keep the Jewish things alive. I don't know how to say this.
Tradition.
The traditions alive. So no basar chalav, like no meat and
No
dairy,
meat, milk, keeping kosher.
and keeping kosher, and kippur and Passover and stuff like that, because for them it was easier to hold it strong at home. We didn't have a Jewish Israeli community in Thailand so much, just like my friends in America said, oh, we had the tzofim, all our friends were Israeli. We didn't
you
have
all
that.
the shul. You
Yeah.
have the synagogue.
We
you
had
have the-
Chabad, but it wasn't shul and all that. You know what I mean? So when I came here and I drafted into the army, and I'm talking to these people, and these people are telling me that they're eating cheeseburgers and they're eating shrimp and they don't keep kippur. And what's Passover? Because it's so muvan me'elav, it's so obvious that you're Jewish in Israel that Israelis don't understand how
Oh,
much
this could
you
be a
need
whole
to.
nother episode.
Israelis don't know how much you need to be Jewish in Chul to feel Jewish.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I remember calling my parents and being like, y'all, you don't even know.
Yo, and she says she's not
Yo,
from America.
Y'all, yeah, that's because of my friends. You don't even know. Did you know that half of the people in the army don't even keep? And my parents are like, what? That's not true. I'm like, what do you mean that's not true? I'm literally with these people.
In the same room.
And I feel like the most Jewish, אני כמעט דתייה למרות these people, okay? Like
Yeah.
I'm the most religious person because I keep Passover and I keep kippur. I didn't know it was an option not to do this. Let me
Yeah.
just put it that way. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's so funny. Ina, something unexpected about being in your 20s and not being with your parents as a Jew who's not, like who's an ole. That was hella unexpected. That was a culture shock for me.
How are you going to try and reshape? We kind of figured out what adulthood was before we started the army when we first came here. We figured out now that we're in the last few steps or years of our degrees.
Yeah.
How do you want to reframe your 20s, if at all? Or are you kind of good with where it's at?
So I feel like I've been doing that for the past year.
Good.
That's where the mindset and the different perspective came in, right? That what we talked about. And I think that's where I want to keep going. That's my trajectory. I think I realized that I'm living in a country that's so dynamic. If it's in the bitroni way, in the security section of it, that it's so dynamic and everything could happen tomorrow. But also the high-tech world here and the startup nation world is so fast-paced and moving. So I really want to live as spontaneous as possible.
Broad.
Is trying to say, yeah. Like,
love that.
I want to have a 5-year plan, like you said, and like I'm used to, but also just live day by day and live week by week and just go with the flow. And I realized the more I go with the flow, the more cool things happening. And by going with the flow and becoming a counselor at school,
דברים נופלים לך לידיים.
yeah, and I got to meet Ariel and I got to reignite the podcast, and that wouldn't have happened if I didn't go with the flow and didn't understand. And I was recently talking to a friend about, and I want us to do an episode about this because it has nothing to do with this too much, but about feminine energy and the fact that I've been living so much in my masculine for the past 7 years in my early 20s that I didn't realize I was doing because I feel like I need to do everything for myself. And the only way that I can succeed is to be in that masculine energy of go, 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 go,
Yep.
and be in your face and be loud and be this. And I realized, and she explained this to me so well, and maybe we need to have her on, that there's something in the quiet and the feminine energy and just being strong that is powerful. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that as a woman in her 20s, that I didn't realize before. That I thought it was going to be so easy to be feminine and fine and wow, I'm going to wear nice clothes and I'm going to be like this. And I realized that when I tried to be like that, I wasn't getting anywhere. So I automatically went into my
Shifted.
masculine energy.
Yep.
And that's something that
We're
I
going to
don't-
have a whole episode about this one, guys.
No,
I'm
and
excited.
and I don't want to be stuck in that. And I don't want to be stuck in that masculine energy. And I think there's some moments where it's needed because it's a man's world after all. I'm saying that chad v'chalak, and it's true. And every man listening knows this is true. But there's a lot of things that I want to reshape in the next couple of years to feel more feminine.
Women CEOs,
In my
motherfucker.
feminine energy. And yeah, again, it has to do with it, but it doesn't have to do with it because it was
It
something
does.
that
You're
I didn't.
reframing your 20s
Yeah.
because you're figuring out who you want to be for the
Yeah, as
future.
a woman,
As a woman.
yeah, as a woman, and
You're incredible. I'm so proud
you're
of you.
also incredible. And are there any moments that you felt like a friariyot?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
there was a follow up and I got stuck. Okay,
Yes.
pause. There were moments that you felt like a friariyot, but you wouldn't have done different. That taught you things that you
Everything, yes. I don't regret anything, and I'm
Okay.
definitely one of those people that are like, oh, it taught me something.
Yeah.
Even if I cry and I'm like bowl of ice cream and I don't talk to anyone for 3 days,
Ice cream.
I'm done for. Okay, it taught me a lesson, and it's one of those things that if I was a friariyot, I learned from it, and I can take back the things that happened. I can think about it again, not necessarily take it back, but like you rethink and you're going over it again and you say, okay, this situation is not going to happen to me again. I
Yeah.
might ask different questions. I might not be in the same situation, but I could come up with a whole episode on what I was a friariyot in the last 8 years.
Okay, so we'll
Yes.
do a Ariel Goldman
Oh,
friar special.
I have so many fun guests for that one to sit in all of the chairs
No, I'm
here.
just gonna call people every 5 minutes and be
We
like,
can.
"Excuse me, I heard that you were in the story. Please confirm."
And you have more than enough people to call.
Yofi,
Yes.
amazing. We'll do it.
I love this episode. What did you think?
I had so much fun.
Good, I'm glad.
Yes, and now we really want to tell you guys where you can find us on social media
This is
because we're always posting things. And again, we keep saying this, and we're seriously asking if you would like to be a guest on this podcast. If
We
you
have a really
were,
cool one next week.
Yeah, if you were a lone soldier or an ole or have a business or need a platform to talk about something, we're definitely here to listen. So please send us messages on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. We're on all the platforms.
Facebook.
Yes.
I don't think so.
No, but we could open a Facebook. We could.
I opened a TikTok for you guys.
Yeah,
Give us some
guys.
claps.
No, seriously,
Yep.
because I don't use TikTok and I did it because I wanted to get to as many people as possible. So hopefully you see us there. But to be honest, we're more active on both LinkedIn and Instagram. That's the most. And you can message me and Ariel privately on our
100%.
private WhatsApps. If you don't have our numbers, I'm sure somebody will give you one of our numbers. And
Run, get the hell. I don't want anyone texting me. I
Never
have 40
mind. Ariel,
we wake up with 40 messages.
Yeah, well,
I'm
I'm
not
trying
giving
to-
out our private numbers.
I was trying to be nice. Ariel. I'm trying to get them. Anyways, find us on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. You can go to our bio description and you'll see that there's a link tree with all the links over there. And we always post fun stuff there and reels that you can see before and after we have the episode. And that's it. Thanks, Ariel, for an amazing episode.
Of course.
And in the meantime, don't be a friar.